It's fine. The Reds outfield is all fine here now. How are you?
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Reds. We are your daily source for all things Cincinnati Reds. I'm Stephen Offenbaker. He's Jeff Carr, and we have a combined 14 years of experience covering the Cincinnati Reds in podcast form. We love baseball. We love this team. We love Cincinnati. We have taken our love for the game and the city and the Reds, and we have turned it into information for you. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And on today's show, well, we're going to break down the newest member of the Cincinnati Reds, Austin Hays. That's right. We're going to talk about him and the impact that he is going to have on the team. We're going to talk about how his addition helps some of the other players on the team. And we're going to ask the ever important question, does this mean that the Cincinnati Reds are done for the offseason? We've got all of that for you on today's show that's brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there is no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets back, guaranteed. Just download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started today. And Jeff, where we are going to get started is the Reds did it. They went out and got their right-handed right-handed outfielder, a little light on the power hitting.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine with the hitting. There's going to be a very cohesive theme to this episode. Just get ready for it. But anyway, he's fine when it comes to the hitting. He's much better against lefties than he is against righties, but he's not unusable against righties, which is a nice thing. I don't necessarily know that this is a straight platoon move from day one. We'll have to see exactly how everything fills out. But we're talking about a guy who was an all-star in 2023. He dealt with a very strange, it's almost weird to call it an injury. It was a kidney condition that he had last year that really forced him to miss a lot of time. He never was right when he was on the field. There were reports, Steve, that off the field, whenever he was just having conversations with friends and family, the infection that he went through with the kidney messed up his brain to the point like he was having a conversation and he just wouldn't be able to finish the conversation because he forgot what they were talking about. And I know that sounds a lot like our podcasts on a daily basis, but when it comes to playing baseball every day, that would make that kind of hard. The good news is he's healthy. He's ready to go. And he passed the physical. Everything's good. There's not an issue with that. So I'm hoping for a bounce back here, but that's kind of the name of the game. He is a bounce back. It's a 1-year deal, $5 million, kind of a, looking good if it works. And if it doesn't work, you don't have to spend that much to cut bait. It's fine.
It's definitely low risk, high reward. The Reds are really putting not much of nothing out there to get this guy. And if he is, and you said this, you tweeted this, if he is 2023 Austin Hays, which we don't have any reason to believe that he won't be. We just broke down for you why he was so bad last year. So if he is back to his true form, this is kind of a steal. It's going to be a really good deal. Look, we go and look at Austin Hays for his career, Jeff, and let's look at his splits, because there are some out there viewing this as a platoon. And maybe, and if he is, basically he's better than Stuart Fairchild. If you're replacing Fairchild with Hays in a platoon, he's fine. This is fine. He's about 10% better against right-handed pitching than Stuart Fairchild is. So he's better. And they're basically the same guy against lefties. But I don't know necessarily that they're viewing him as a platoon. If you look at his splits for his career versus right-handed pitching, Jeff, slash line of 254, 304, 415. It's not awful. It's fine. You have hit the nail on the head with how to describe this guy. It's fine. Versus lefties, a little bit better. 277, 331, 469. He's not going to hit for a ton of power, but in 2023, he got you 20 home runs, I think. I jumped back to my other screen. But in 2023, he got you a grand total of only 16. Sorry. His career high is 22 in 2021. So at Great American Ballpark, could he get you 20, 81 games at GABP? Probably. That probably equates.
I mean, he
can see that.
Two back in 2021, so he can do it. He's hit
He
more
can do
than
it.
20 in the season. And certainly you could do it at Great American. And this is from his perspective too. This is a perfect opportunity to get back on the right track. He's 29, he'll be 29 years old this season. So if he has a good year and he blows up like Nick Castellanos did in 2021, hey, he goes and gets himself paid next year. There's no club option here, there's no player option, there's no mutual option, there's no nothing. It's literally a solid 1 year, $5 million contract. And that is like a step above. Like most minor league deals with invites to spring training, when a guy earns the opening day roster spot off of a deal like that, he makes like $1.5 million or 1.75. I forget what the number is, but it's less than $2 million. This is like a step above that. Yeah, basically is what we're talking about here. So yes, this improves the Reds outfield because quite frankly, the Reds outfield without Austin Hayes was just going to be running it back with what they had last year. And the other part of Austin Hayes personally, before we jump into how things move around him, and I don't know if anyone has seen this, but there's definitely been a lot of highlight videos of him in the field make their way around Reds country on Twitter and social media and things like that. This dude's got an arm. We are going to talk about a guy that when you put him, and he's probably going to play in left field, I would think, but you put him in left field, he's going to be able to make some throws. And there's going to be some plays that he makes this season from the outfield that we're like, oh, $5 million, huh? That was a pretty smart deal for a guy that can gun a guy down at home plate. In fact, there was one that I can close my eyes and see because I watched it a few times because I couldn't believe it, where Jesse Winker, when he was playing for the Mariners, hit a ball into the corner. You know, that like weird center field corner in Seattle where it's kind of like almost like a
nook. It's a nook.
The nook. He hits it into the nook, and Hayes goes and picks it up, and Winker thinks he's got himself a triple and guns him down at third base while it's all awkward, like the center fielder. Like it was a weird play, and he was able to turn it into an out. And I'm expecting that there's going to be a couple of those for the Reds in the field, and that more than anything is awesome because, quite frankly, there wasn't those types of plays last year.
Yeah, let's talk about what healthy Austin Hayes brings you. Let's talk about his 2023 for just a moment, Jeff. He was an all-star in 2023. He was an all-star. You know, in that season, he played a lot of games. He was healthy, he was available, and he had reverse splits in 2023, Jeff. I would just like to point out that versus right-handers in 2023, he hit 280, 323, 439. He was bringing it against the righties. I am really, really interested to see if last year was just truly this illness really setting him back. And if he's this guy, if he's this 2023 guy for the Reds in 2025, this outfield goes from us going, oh my God, what are they going to do, to suddenly finding themselves cooking with gasoline. You're going to have an all-star level player out there that is going to be able to play every day and is going to create a domino effect that I can't wait to talk about. And as a matter of fact, that is probably what we should talk about here coming up in just a minute, because there are a lot of impacts that Austin Hayes brings to the team that don't necessarily involve Austin Hayes. So let's talk about the domino effect, and it's fine coming up next.
Super Bowl 59 is here, and if it looks similar, that's because it is. Eagles Chiefs. Yippee-doo. But hey, you can make it new over on FanDuel because they've got all the prop bets. They've got yardage. They've got touchdowns. They've got what color Gatorade the winning coach is going to get doused in, and so much more. Plus, if you're a new user and you win your first $5 bet, you can get $200 in bonus bets. You can check out NBA and NHL action, even college basketball leading up to the Super Bowl to get you those $200 in bonus bets. Or you can even throw a little bit on some MLB futures like win totals. The Reds are currently at 78.5 over under for their wins for the season. Terry Francona did not come out of retirement to manage the Reds to 78 wins. It just ain't going to happen. They're going to hit the over. You should take the over on FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com. New users, your first $5 winning wager can get you $200 in bonus bets. FanDuel is the official partner of Super Bowl 59.
We're talking Reds baseball here today, every day, every week, off season, spring training, regular season, and hopefully post season, baby. We're going to got you covered all year long. All right, Jeff, let's dive back into this Austin Hayes conversation, because while he is fine, he's going to hate that. While he is fine, he really creates some impact, some domino effects that I think make this team better. There are some results that we're going to get now, having added Austin Hayes, that make me look at this team and think overall it makes things better, because now guys, it's going to free up certain guys to move around. It's going to limit the amount of time we have to see other guys in the outfield. So I want to start here. I don't think this means we won't see Stuart Fairchild. I don't see Austin Hayes as a replacement.
Double negatives there, but yeah.
I don't think that this means we won't see Stuart Fairchild. I think that Stuart Fairchild still is the other half of the Fairchild combo outfielder, yes, and that they're looking more at Austin Hayes to play every day in the other corner, or at least as much as possible in the other corner. I think what adding Austin Hayes does is frees up Spencer Steer to move around. We've been talking about the best version of this team is to allow Spencer Steer to move around. And versus left-handers, you could have a left-handed, an outfield versus left-handed pitching that is Hayes, Fairchild, and then if you want to roll with Friedel in center, you can. If you want to run Matt McLean out there, you can. If you want to play Steer for Lux on the infield, you can. There's lots of things you can do then because you've got Austin Hayes. So I like the idea of this freeing up Steer to move around.
And he's one of three guys that I really think that this helps out, in that it's going to mitigate their time in the outfield. Spencer Steer's one of them, Matt McLean's the other, and Gavin Lux is the third, because there was definitely a lot of talk and there was a lot of questions thrown at Nick Krall whenever he acquired Gavin Lux. And that was, is he going to play in the outfield? Because that's what we need. Well, now the Reds actually got themselves a bona fide outfielder, albeit a guy that needs to bounce back, but he's a bona fide outfielder. He's not a second baseman turned left fielder, or he's not Santiago Espinal, who played right field for 25 seconds. And so now he can put that on his resume. Like, he actually is an outfielder. And I love that for the roster as a whole and how it moves, how we're able to look at the Fairchild platoon and say, okay, we're not banking on this anymore as far as like the outfield has to work with these guys. It's that it can work with these guys because Austin Hayes is now here. You move Stuart Fairchild to like the fifth outfielder spot or the sixth outfielder spot. You move Spencer Steer to a speculative outfielder, but you can play him more at the corner infield spots or second base, wherever he can go there. There's an argument to be made that he is the better first baseman on the roster than anybody else that they have options for. So you open that door because he doesn't have to now go stand in left field because we don't have anybody. Like, Austin Hayes is going to be that guy. And for me, the other part of this, and I look more toward the individual aspect of this move for Will Benson than I do, celebrate the fact that the Reds won't have to worry about him. I think this opens up so many doors for him to actually continue to work on his game. We've heard about the batting stance change and about how much he's working on things, and his swing is different and he's fixed a big hole in it and all this other stuff. That's great. I don't think that takes in 2 months. Like, I think that's going to take a little bit more time. Now he has that time. He doesn't have to have that figured out, quickly, just in case something doesn't work with the thin, razor-thin outfield that the Reds have. He is now the 7th, 8th option on the list. And for me, it's all of these moves that, yes, Austin Hayes by himself is fine. And he makes this roster better by how everybody else gets to move around him.
Yeah. I like the idea of Will Benson not being under pressure to perform per se in spring training. And don't get me wrong, he's going to Goodyear to try and make this team. And in his mind, he is a big leaguer. He's trying to keep his job. I get it. Fine. I just don't see it. I think much like the Noel V. Marte conversation, I think the best thing for Will Benson is to start in Louisville and be told, look, you're down here.
3-4 in Louisville.
Get better.
Those two guys, 3-4.
That's right. Go get it done. And then if you have an injury, if you have an opportunity, if he comes up and he's ready and it's demonstrated and catches fire, great, cool. But I didn't like at all the idea of having to rely on him for opening day. Likewise, this now changes the conversation that we had surrounding Rhys Hines, because when we last talked about this, Rhys Hines was an outfielder in the majors by default. That's just the way that it was going to be. Now, it could still be Rhys Hines in the majors, but it's not going to be by default. He's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to perform in spring training, and he's going to have to show this coaching staff something that makes them say, we want him in the majors. Otherwise, now you've got your 3, 4, 5 hitters at Louisville, all going down there competing to be the next man up.
I wonder if there's a chance, and I think this is not the conversation where we assume health. This is the conversation where, is there a chance that Stuart Fairchild's thumb is still a problem?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then Rhys Hines can step in for him. Like, I think that now you open the door. He doesn't have to be ready to go opening day. He can be ready to go.
Well, and it also means that you don't have to say, well, Fairchild's hurt. Austin Hayes has to be the other half of this Fraley platoon because we're going to use Fraley. It doesn't have to be that. Rhys Hines can fill that role.
Which, to kind of add to this, like if that does become the platoon of Hayes and Fraley, then you could be the Haley platoon, just like the Haley's Comet. You can sell T-shirts and everything. Anyway,
it's Fairchild. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, gang. I'll work on it. I'll come up with a better one. Just let Jeff do his thing.
I forgot who the person was on Twitter, but I saw them share the custom-made jersey.
The Fairchild jersey. It was great.
Number 44. I don't know about number 44. That's Ellie, but 99 or something like that. That'd be kind of funny. But no, I think it's interesting too when you talk about the lineup, because looking at his makeup, I mean, slugging 444, you're not going to put him in the cleanup spot, and that's his all-star year. He was slugging 444. For his career, he slugs 432. He kind of profiles as like a 6-7 hole hitter. So as far as the lineup is concerned, he sort of fits in with everybody else. Like, I feel like Tyler Stevenson, CES, all these different guys right now profile as like 5, 6, 7 hole hitters. We don't still have a cleanup guy that we can point to and be like, that's the guy. The cleanup spot in this lineup is still the land of opportunity. Because I think, and I saw Fangraphs had posted like a speculative lineup that includes Austin Hayes, and I think they had him like 9th. I don't know that he's 9th, but if he is 9th, that means we have a good problem on our hands and somebody else has stepped up.
Just a note on 44 for Fairchild. That's the total you get if you combine their jersey numbers. Fraley and Fairchild's uniform numbers add up to 44, which is what made that jersey brilliant. I know you saw Ellie when you saw 44, but
I saw Adam Dunn first and then I saw Ellie, but yeah, no.
And Eric Davis and, all of the greats. All of the Reds greats. Adam Dunn, Eric Davis, and Fairchild. Oh my God. Listen, I like that there's some options and there's some possibilities now, Jeff. We were having to squint pretty hard to look at this outfield and find a way to be comfortable with what they had on the roster now. We're going to keep coming back to Austin Hayes being fine, and he is, but the broader impacts, I think, make me a little bit more excited. I'm not over the moon about this signing from a standpoint of Austin Hayes is going to come in here and do these things, but I'm more excited about it giving Tito the option to put guys into situations to be successful. That's been as much as I've been harping right-handed power hitting outfield bat, right? The second thing I harp the most is putting players in positions to be successful, not just running them out there and then being mad when they don't perform, right? Like, you have to put guys in positions to be successful. This signing now lets this coaching staff put guys in positions to be more successful. And it allows Francona to go make his lineup every day and actually take defense into account. That's something I am positive did not happen last year. Nobody cared at all about what the defensive metrics look like or what was going to happen when you put Santiago Espinal in the outfield. When you decided that Spencer Steer is in fact a left fielder, that's what his label on Baseball Reference is going to say, and that's what we're going to call him. Well, wishing don't make it so. You have to be able to put guys in positions to be successful. So this signing does that now. Guys are going to have a better opportunity to go out and perform not only offensively, but defensively at a major league level.
So with that, what's next? The move's probably not going to move the needle a whole lot more than it's already been moved. If you can't watch us on YouTube, you can always listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. We're seriously on all of them. Make sure you go subscribe today. Thanks for being a part of the show. Always make sure to jump down into the comments section whenever you can and comment any old thing about the Cincinnati Reds. Or even if you tried Skyline ice cream, I tell you what, I got a pint. Not gonna lie, Steve, before recording, I still haven't eaten it yet. I'm waiting on him. I'm being a good husband. We're gonna eat it together. But I'm so looking forward to that first bite. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm ready.
I can't wait. And shout out to you because, per my request, you also obtained one for me that will wait in your freezer
opening day.
For me to get there on opening day. So I appreciate you for that.
Your happy opening day present will be
Skyline ice cream. Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, let's jump into this because now the move brings into question that we finally have the outfielder. The Reds finally got the guy. Not the guy, but got a outfielder, a fine outfielder. So what's next? Is it going to be a big trade? We're going to see like an Alec Boehm or something? Probably not. Luis, no. I think if anything, the next thing that the Reds do is like sign a relief pitcher. And I don't even know that it's Carlos Estevez. I know we talked about him last week, and there were some signs that the Reds were making progress on a signing there. But I think we're probably more so looking for like a move where the Reds either not a waiver claim, but maybe like a invite to spring training for like an Alex Young type of reliever. I think that's what's left. I don't think we see anything.
They've done that move though. They've
they signed Alex Young. They signed another.
Young,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's true.
So it's like this. Let's break it down into two categories. Let's simplify this a little bit. Let's break it down. Free agent signings, trades. Yeah. Are the Reds done with free agent signings? Mostly. If there's going to be a free agent signing, it's going to be for a relief pitcher. Could it still be Estevez? That would surprise me because of the budget implications. It would surprise me, but it could still be him. If we don't know exactly how much of the FanDuel sports money made its way into Nick Krall's balance sheet of what he's allowed to spend. We don't know. But I think there's probably still a little bit more money even after this Austin Hayes signing. So it's possible. There's a less than 0% chance it could still be Estevez. If there is going to be a free agent signing, though, Jeff, it will be a relief pitcher. That's the next place they need to address a little bit more. I think they're done tinkering with the starting rotation, especially given the fact that, Nick Martinez picked up that qualifying offer. So they're done messing around there. Hayes is the outfielder. He may not have been the outfielder we were looking for, but he is now the outfielder. So it's fine. They're done there. Free agent signing, relief pitcher. Trades. Are they done? Maybe not. There's been a lot of feelers put out. There are a lot of active conversations that were going on. We've heard from, deep within the sanctum of the Reds front office that they had a broad strategy of guys they were looking at, offers they were willing to entertain, things they were willing to do. We know this. That doesn't necessarily mean those are off the table. Could they go trade for Boehm? They could. It could happen. There may be some financial implications that have to be added to that trade now. There may have to be some money come back with the player, which could increase what they have to send in the trade, but it's still possible. So what I'm saying is this signing doesn't necessarily mean that's it. They're done. We've got the team. Let's break it down. Let's talk about where everybody's going to play and what opening day's lineup looks like. Not quite there yet, Jeff. I think there's still some wiggle room, both free agent wise and trade wise, to continue to massage this roster a little bit.
I do wonder, though, on the trade route, if it's not something that they push to closer to the deadline, maybe not necessarily during spring training, but they keep those on the table. They're like, okay, we know that these teams were discussing this. And there are a couple. There's one that we'll talk about on a later show when we kind of dive into a few third base options that we've been hearing them talk about, that a free agent signing will definitely affect how that trade is perceived, and the money on the player isn't that big. But outside of something like that, outside of the Reds being able to acquire somebody who is either on a minimum or just above minimum type contract, they will have to get rid of some money somewhere else. And outside of the pipe dream that was the Oakland A's wanting to take on Jeimer Candelario's contract, I don't see a whole big, and they can't trade another compensatory draft pick because they don't have one. There's not really a big coupon that's sitting there in Nick Krall's pocketbook being like, hey, look, you can use me. So I think that it's just going to be waiver claims. And, maybe there is the player that gets surprisingly cut and he gets his contract paid, and so he's just looking for somewhere to hit on for the season. Maybe they get a guy like that, but I don't necessarily know that it's going to be something huge. And they might be pretty happy with the way that the 40-man roster looks and the way that the speculative 26-man roster looks. So there's a chance we don't see anything happen for the rest of spring training. But I think that overall, where they are now, and we mentioned this, and we'll get into this a little bit more into detail, but my initial reactions without doing too many deep dive researches into some things is that I'm going to give them a B- on the offseason. That's kind of where I am right now. I think that
if spring training started today, if this is it, we're going to Goodyear. You're giving them a B-.
I give them a B-.
All right. I'm torn. I want to say, I want to be on the fence. I want to not commit. I'm going to political tap dance this thing almost, Jeff, because I feel like they're to say C+ might be a little unfair for what they've accomplished in the offseason. To say B- makes me feel like I'm giving Nick Krall too much credit because he didn't get me that 40 home run hitter guy that I said they had to have. But if he had, then it'd be an A. So shouldn't it be a B? I don't know. I'm giving him a 79.9. So on paper, it's still a C, but it's going to round to a B-.
See how the grade,
it's in the gray. It's in the gray. We got to put it on a curve. It's fine, but it's fine, Jeff. It's fine. But I'm right there with you. C, high C+, as high as C+ can get, to B- as low as B- can get. That's kind of where I'm at right now. If spring training started today, I think I know what Nick Krall's going to say. I know what Nick Krall's going to say. I haven't seen any video from him yet because it's still early here in Hawaii. I didn't have time to do that and see if there's anything out there from Nick Krall. But I know I can almost predict he's going to say, this move makes us stronger in the outfield. Guys are going to play all over the place. We're going to continue to look for deals that are favorable for the team. We're always looking to make this team better. The problem is that everybody wants major league talent right now, but we're going to continue to look, right? That's what he's going to say.
Right.
I just wrote it. I just wrote it for him. That's what there's the press conference in case you missed it.
Right. But that's just him saying, I'm going to do my job, because that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to always look at ways to make the team better. But yeah, I think, like, as far as grading is concerned, I want to specifically state that is the roster. The whole Terry Francona thing was just brilliant. It's a thing that we didn't expect. It's a move that we never thought in a million years they would make. We expected David Bell to be back. I thought that at the end of the season. I'm like, they're not going to fire him. There's no way. And then boom, it happened. So that gets an A. But I just wanted to, it's a B- on the roster. And there's so much that could make the season better, but it's not based on the personnel moves wholly like I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted them to remove any doubt. They didn't remove any doubt. There's still doubts about even the people that they brought in. So that's where I'm at, where I'm thinking B-. And it's like, yes, they brought in some things and they made the roster more usable, more versatile for Terry Francona, but they didn't make it a slam dunk exclamation point. Yes, it's obvious that they are ready for playoff baseball. It requires a little bit more work, and that is where spring training and the season comes in, and we're going to be all over it every single day here on Locked On Reds.
Yeah, you know what, Jeff? Just as a final thought, here's how I can kind of put it together. When you talk about the signing of Austin Hayes, you still have to begin it with "I hope." And, I have said all offseason, right? I'm tired of "I hope" statements, because I hope that Matt McLain's healthy. I hope that CES is better and has a wrist. I hope that, Green and Lodolo are healthy. I hope. But with Austin Hayes, I hope that he's 2023 Austin Hayes and not 2024 Austin Hayes. So it begins there, right? And so that's where the low risk, high reward comes in, because if he is, well, then we're cooking. And if he's not, well, So there we go. But you're absolutely right. We're going to continue to monitor this. The Reds may not necessarily be done. We're going to watch for Nick Krall's press conference, and we'll bring the highlights of that to you in an episode probably into next week already now. But we're going to be around. We're going to be covering the news. We're going to be covering the rumors. We're going to be watching for transactions. We're going to gather all of it up, bring it back here to keep you locked on Reds every single day. It's fine, Jeff. It's fine.
We're all fine here now.
We're all
How
fine.
are you?
I'm fine.
We're sending a squad up. Negative. Give us got a reactor leak here. Give us a second to lock it down. Largely, very dangerous. Who is this? What's your operating number?